What to know about Trump's attacks on mail voting is that the former president has been relentlessly calling the method cheating, corrupt, and horrible, even though he himself has used mail ballots in 2018, 2020, and most recently in March. In a primetime address last Thursday, he stated that mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt. Yet court rulings, multiple district courts and even the Supreme Court have repeatedly blocked his efforts to curb the practice before the November midterms. The truth is that election officials and a large body of academic research find no evidence of widespread fraud through absentee voting. A database maintained by the Heritage Foundation lists just under 300 proven cases of fraudulent use of absentee ballots over a 43-year period from 1982 to 2025. The Brookings Institution, in a 2025 study, found that fraud accounted for only 4 out of 10 million mailed ballots. That's less than 1 in 2.5 million ballots, a figure that sits at the very bottom of the spectrum of concerns that the president has been alarmingly vocal about. In other words, the accusations of fraud Trump routinely makes have no support in the data. The former president has also made it clear that fraud is not the sole reason he wants to limit mail voting. In March, Trump told Republican lawmakers that a strict voter identification law, specifically aimed at mail ballots, would guarantee the midterms for his party. The idea is that the Democrats, according to him, are using mail voting more heavily than Republicans, and that tightening the rules would tip the scales back into Republican hands. Historically, it has actually been the other party that has leaned into absentee voting. In the late 20th century, mail voting was considered a Republican vote, and a 2000 election may have gone different had late arriving mail ballots not been counted. In 2005, Georgia Republicans passed laws to make mail voting easier, and by 2008 the Republican platform called for enhanced mail voting for troops stationed abroad. The party even filled out absentee ballot applications mere Republican members in Utah in 2012 and celebrated being outvoted by Democrats in Florida in 2018. These examples illustrate that Republicans benefited from mail voting across decades and varied states. The paradox is that Trump's attacks seem out of sync with the GOP's historical energy around absentee voting. Still, some members of the party do try to appeal to voters by promoting mail voting. In 2024, Turning Point Action, a conservative group founded by Charlie Kirk, successfully pursues less reliable voters in Arizona partly by promoting mail voting. The movement shows that the GOP's relationship to absentee ballots is still complex. Looking forward, can Trump's narrative shift voter behavior? The court's vegetable almost no impact on the next midterm elections. It is the evidence, bridging over 10 million mailed ballots, to show the dismal fraud rate, and the continuing support from Republican voters for mail ballot options that guide the field. Even if Trump continues to push a narrative of rampant fraud, the judicial system and research are preventing additional obstacles from arising. For now, voters may continue to rely on mail voting, under the rules that currently exist. Thank you for staying with us. Let us know what you think in the comments. Until next time, stay informed. Goodbye.